students, good morning. I myself Dr. Ganesh Prasad Behra, founder chairman, Utkal International School, Chaudhar, Cuttack. Dear students, today we have to discuss about the chapter 3 of Economics of Standard 10. The name is Money and Credit. Before this chapter, we have discussed two chapters. First chapter is Development and the second chapter is the sector of Indian economy. Dear students, the economics and the sector of Indian economy both are depend upon the third chapter, the chapter known as Money and Credit. Dear students, our day-to-day life we used money for different works and different purposes. But a question arises on our mind that can money is the fast exchange mode before a last longer? No, the answer is no. So on this chapter we have to first discuss about money as a medium of exchange. An intermediary instrument is used to change or sell or purchase of goods between the buyer and the seller. It is a intermediary instrument. In the olden days, if you go to a olden age 150 years back, what happened? Now both parties agreed to sell and buy each other goods. There is a mutual understanding. X has some amount and X has some material and Y has some material. So they have to, X and Y have to exchange their material by each other's interest. If there is no requirement of X, so he can deny. So Y can search another party. But this system is known as barter system. So what is barter system? Now in olden days, both parties agreed to sell and buy each other's good. So this is known as what? Barter system. Here the double coincidence X and Y, double coincidence of wants is an importance feature because the goods are directly exchanged without the use of currency. In barter system, there should not be use of currency. That is a double coincidence. X needs the material and Y have available of this material. At that time the double coincidence of wants is an importance feature because the goods are directly exchanged without the use of currency. Later, then after that, it is a very difficult task to fulfill the requirement of the both parties. So a metallic coin of gold. So first the coincidence of exchange, then the second step people need to use, that is metallic coins of gold. Silver and copper were used as a medium of exchange in transaction. So after the barter systems, people are used to the metallic coin of gold, silver and copper on a medium of exchange in transaction. So after that, modern economics enters to the economic sector. In modern economics, it will be very difficult to use the coins as a mode of exchange. So the great thinkers and the countries used money functions as a medium of exchange. That is the history why money is come. First that is barter system. After that there is coin system, maybe gold, silver and copper. And after that money entered to the market and a person holding money can exchange it for any desired good and service in the market. Money is accepted everywhere. It is the main mode of exchange. So this is a history. Money as a medium of exchange. Then we have to discuss here the modern forms of money. First, the old days only cash, only money is used as a medium of exchange. Then a modern forms of money. Modern form of money are currencies and coins. Now we are using the modern coins or modern currencies. Just like example I have shown you, this is a 100 rupees, 100 rupees which is used as a mode of exchange. Some coins that comes to the market to as a mode of exchange for time to time. That is a 50 rupees. That is the old type. That is the new recent type of money which is used for a mode of exchange. And later the big coins just like 500, and that is a 500 rupees, Indian rupees. It is also money which is used for currency for use. So the currency, it is authorized the government of the country. देखिए, this is the 500 rupees and it is authorized by the government, Reserve Bank of India. This side you will see it, that is approved by Reserve Bank of India. So the Reserve Bank of India issues currency notes on the behalf of the government. It is the issued by the Reserve Bank of India for the use of the on behalf of the Indian government. So the law legalized the use of currency notes. It is a law, Indian law and the country's law, but legalize the use of currency notes as a medium of payment, used as a medium of payment, which everyone has to accept in all the transactions in India. In India, if we go everywhere, we use the money or currency which is legalized by the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, and it will be accepted in all the transactions in India. Then we go to the next point, that is deposit with banks. Dear students, you have well known that our government has licensed some nationalized banks to conduct and the legalize of transaction and of the currencies, and which is governed by the RBI, Reserve Bank of India. So deposit with banks. Some people may hold certain amount of money with banks as deposits after meeting the day-to-day expenses. Dear students, now your relatives, your father, your near about peoples are getting salaries, getting monies from different sources, from businesses. But what are they doing? They are doing that after their day-to-day expenses, they deposit some amounts on the bank, and the banker accept the person's deposit and pay an amount of interest on the deposit. Dear students, bank is not only receive the amount on a fee, banks will have an interest, maybe 4%, maybe 5%, maybe 6% per annum. They give an interest to the depositors. The deposit in the bank account can be withdrawn on demand if you are necessary. If you have requirement of amount, so you can go to a bank and put a demand by check or a withdrawal form. Then you can get your amount from bank, and these deposits are called demand deposits. Students, well defined, you know. Then another mode of deposits, that is checks, checkbook. A bank account holder can make payment through a check for a specific amount instead of cash. If you have a bank account, so what do you have got from bank? A ATM card, a checkbook, and ATM card you can directly withdraw it from ATMs, and the checkbook you can issue it to another person for withdrawal. You can personally go to bank for withdrawal. It is a mode of withdrawal. A check is a paper, you know, the check is a plain paper, and with the instruction to the banker to pay the specific amount. pay to. In checkbook, you have to maintain, pay to Anil Prakash, and you put your amount and put your sign. So bank will verify your sign and issue the amount to the person you have asked. So the person's account to the person in whose name the check has been issued. I have told in the checkbook whose name you have mentioned, bank has directly paid payment to that person. Then there is two types of transactions. One is depositor and another is borrower. You know depositor जो डिपॉजिट करता है, borrower जो बैंक से लोन लेता है. तो what are the scope of depositors? Now depositor scope, deposit money. You know a depositor on the bank, he goes to the bank and deposit the money, and after that receive interest on deposits, and after that what is done, he receives the interest on the deposits and withdraw money when required, and any requirement we can withdraw the money. Then the scope of borrowers. What is the scope of borrowers? Now borrowers take loans. The borrower take loans and repay loans with interest. He takes the loans and repay loans with interest. Then bank loans. You know, for every work, for every important work, banks are provided to peoples, and nowadays bank loan is the part of human being's life. You know, on your home, your father, your brother and your relatives take loans, just like housing loans, for vehicle loans, for personal loans. There are different categorized loans. So a question arises, from where banks provide loans? Dear students, the bank maintains only a certain portion of deposits as cash with them, and most deposits are used to extend loans. Dear student, do you understand? Banks are maintain certain amount with them, and the extra amount or excess amount they provide to the public as loan, and they got the interest on that loan to the borrowers. People may require loans for their economic activities. Thus, bank make use of these depositors to meet the loan requirement of people. Banks charge a higher rate of interest of loans than the interest they pay to deposits. It is important. Dear students, listen it carefully. Banks charge a higher rate of interest on loans than the interest they pay to deposits. If they pay to depositors 6% loan, they charge 9% loan to the borrowers, those who pay loans. Understand? The difference between the amount of interest received and paid is their main source of income. A question arises on your mind, what is the difference and the benefit of the bank and profit of the bank? You know that the difference, if a bank paid the depositors loans of 6% and collects the 9% interest from the borrowers, the different 3% is the main source or profit of the bank. Okay, then we are goes to the next point, creditors. Dear students, credits refers to an agreement in which the lender supply the borrowers with money. Credits, credit means udhari. You know credit means udhari. So credit what? Refers an agreement. Without documentation, no one give credit to the peoples. Okay, goods or services in return for promise for future payment. It is a agreement. It is a promise between the buyer, the borrower. There is a agreement that he has to pay the future payment with the desired interest. Generally, farmers take crop loans. Generally, categories. You have a question on your mind. the farmers are take the crop loans and the beginning of the season and repay the loan after harvest. A farmer needs money at what time? At the time of beginning of the season and repay कब वो repay करता है? Generally in the time of harvest. If the income from the harvest is not sufficient to repay the credit, a question arises on your mind. If a farmer got a 5,000 rupees a loan, credit loan from a bank and promises he will repay that amount at the time of harvest, and if the time of harvest he can't achieve the sufficient amount to repay the credit, then a part of land is sold to repay the credit. This situation called debit trap. Debit trap, it is a very bad thing. Dear student, debit trap. A farmer gets a loan for crop at the beginning of the season, but at the time of harvest he is not able to repay the loan amount. At that time what happened? It is a very bad time. The farmer has to sell a part of land to repay the credit. This is called the debit trap. Okay, debit trap, it is a very bad thing. Then terms of credit. Dear students, if a bank, if a organization give a loan to any party, he put a terms. So what are the terms? The loan agreement specifies that the borrower needs to pay interest to the lender along with the principal amount, and lender may demand collateral against loans. Okay, that is something collateral against loans. And what is the collateral? Collateral means a fixed assurance, fixed property which has been mortgaged, which has been assured to the lender, and collateral is an asset which the borrower owns. Collateral, the own property or asset of the borrower, such as land, livestock and bank deposits, and uses as a guarantee to lender until the loan is repaid. It is a guarantee. It is a guarantee to the lender. Lender means who pay the loan to the until the loan is repaid. And another main thing is the terms of credit comprise interest rate. In terms of credit, interest is the main thing, and documentation and the mode of repayment. If one bank, one organization needs to pay loan, so first he decide, both parties has to decide, lender and borrower. What decided? The interest rate and the collateral. Collateral means the fixed assurance, and the documentation and the mode of repayment. On which year, between which year he have to repayment. Then a point comes that loan from cooperatives. Dear students, this on above points we have discussed the loans from the branded organization, just like banks and the reputed loan companies, but now there is cooperatives. Cooperative societies are the other major source of cheap credit in rural areas. Dear students, you will have known our rural areas is not finally or finished or covered by the bankers or lenders. So on the rural areas, the main loan paid parties are cooperatives. It accepts deposits from farmers. So in the cooperatives, the parties of the cooperative are the farmers. So what happened? Now cooperatives receive deposits from the farmers and used it as collateral for obtaining loan from banks. तो वो क्या करता है ना, जो कोऑपरेटिव बैंक से वो फार्मर से मनी कलेक्ट करता है और उसको खुद कोलेक्ट करके बड़ा बैंक से लोन कलेक्ट करता है फर्दर। और उसके बाद क्या होता है, दिस फंड्स आर यूज्ड टू प्रोवाइड लोन्स टू मेंबर्स। उसके बाद क्या करता है ना, फर्दर ये जो फंड्स होता है उसको प्रोवाइड करता है, किसको? लोन्स टू मेंबर्स, जो कोऑपरेटिव का मेंबर्स रहते हैं, जो फार्मर्स रहता है, जो आर पार्टीज ऑफ द कोऑपरेटिव, उनको he paid the loans. Then we will comes to India, our country. Types of credits in India. So you know now India is a developing country. Everywhere there is development. How construction of a house, construction of the factories, development of the areas, and purchase of vehicles, different works. Peoples of India needs loan from banks and other sources. So types of credits, we discuss about the types of credit. The types of loan oblique credits can be grouped into formal and informal sector loans. Dear students, we are getting loans from two sectors. One sector is formal sector and another sector is informal sector. So students, a question arises on your mind that what is formal sector and what is non-formal sector. So here, what is formal sector and what is informal sector. So we have to discuss about, first we have to discuss about the formal sector. Loans provided by banks are cooperatives and formal sector loans. The function of formal sector loans are supervised by RBI, Reserve Bank of India, thereby to maintain minimum cash balance as reserve in the bank. That is the formal sector. To provide loans not only to profit making business but also to the small scale industries, small cultivators and small borrowers. Formal sectors are mainly focused to development. They are not focusing on the profit making business, that like they are not getting higher rate of interest, and to submit the periodically report to Reserve Bank of India regarding the total amount extended as credit and the rate of interest charged on the credit. They are fully supervised by the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India, they have to submit a report on every periodical, maybe 1 year, maybe 6 months, and the total amount of extended, how much they have put credit or loan, and how much interest they have got, and loans provided by then we have goes to informal sector. Dear students, informal sector is not a good sector for getting loans, but people's, due to not many of chances, they has goes to informal sector to get the loans. So loans provided by money lenders, traders, employers, relatives and friends are informal sector loans. There is no organization to supervise the activity of informal sector. Okay, there is no organization to supervise the activities of the informal sector. Thus, this lender charges a higher rate of interest than banks and cooperatives. Okay, their charges high rate of interest. Informal sectors, you have became a serious what they are charging the interest. You can't imagine, because they are not supervised by anybody, and because the higher rate interest rate, the amount to be repaid is greater than the income of the borrower. It is a very important thing. Because of the higher interest rate in informal sector, the amount to be repaid is greater than the income of the borrower. Thus, banks and cooperatives need to lend cheap and affordable credit for the country's development. So, the requirement of banks is necessary to affordable credit for the country's development. Then, importance of formal and informal sources of credit, people in rural areas. Dear students, you know most of 60 to 70% people of India is living in rural areas. So the development of rural area is very important to development of the nation. So if we go the importance of the formal and informal sources of credit for people in rural areas, we found only 50% of the total credit is provided by the formal sector. In the rural area, it is a very pathetic. Only 50% of total credit is provided by the formal sector and the remaining by the informal sector. You think only 50% people in the rural area is able to get the loan from formal sector and another 50% is getting loan from informal sector. The formal sector has to increase the credits in rural areas to reduce the dependence on credits from the informal sector. It is a basic requirement. Now the times requirement, the formal sector has to increase the credits in rural areas to produce the dependence of credits from the informal sector. Then the formal sector loan has to expand and it is equally distributed to everyone. It is very important that the formal sector loan has to expand and it will reach to everyone and equally distributed to everyone, and it should be monetized, it should be watched by the government, that it should be equally distributed to everyone. Then dear students, in village, in rural areas and in also in urban areas, now a new trend goes on, that is SSG groups, self-help groups for poor, a self-help group. So as the bank requires, dear students, you well know, if you goes to bank needs a lots of documentation. So a man is not able to deposit all the documents to the banks. So as the bank requires clear documentation, and the main important things with the bank requires collateral to avail loan. So it is a very difficult. The poor people depend on informal sources of loans due to these points. What these points? As the bank requires clear documentation and collateral to avail loans. So the poor people depend on informal sources of loans. They are bound to pay high rates of interest for the absence of collateral. You know, secured and unsecured. I have given you the example. There are two types of loans. Bank people shall ask you, it is a secured loan or unsecured loan. Secured loan means you have to show collaterals, deposit the collaterals to the bank, and if you have no collateral, it is known as unsecured loan, and where the interest rate is high. Now if you compare the recent market, if you go for a loan with collateral, so at that time if the interest rate is 10%, and if you go for a loan without collateral, so the interest rate is 18%. So it is known as unsecured. If you are go for a secured loan with collateral documents, then if the interest is 10%, so at that other hand it is 18% if it is unsecured loan and you have not show any collateral or deposited to the bank. So to avoid the difficulties, self-help groups SHGs with 15 to 20 members, particularly women, are formed to pool their savings. It is a pool savings. Okay, 10 to 15 women make a group, and what happened? The member saving may vary from reach 25 to reach 100 or above based on their ability to save a certain amount on a month end. They have to save, and members of the group can take small loans at a reasonable rate of interest. Among that, if any people have required the loan or required the money, he can take the loan on a reasonable interest. This development of a group helps to obtain loans from bank, and at that condition also this group can put that amount on the bank and also get loan from the banks. The SHGS helps borrowers to receive loans without collateral at time of necessity. Okay, it is the main thing. The SHGS don't need any collateral at the time of loan or necessity, such as for releasing mortgaged land, for meeting working capital needs, and for acquiring asset. Okay, so sewing machine, handloom, and cattle, that is needs for the improvement, development of the रूरल पीपल्स, दे कैन परचेज ऑन दैट अमाउंट, मशीन परचेज कर सकते हैं, हैंडलूम बना सकते हैं और कैटल खरीद सकते हैं उनका बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट करने के लिए. सो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, ए क्वेश्चन अराइज ऑन योर माइंड नाउ, ए क्वेश्चन अराइजेस ऑन योर माइंड, एडवांटेजेस ऑफ सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स. व्हाट इज द एडवांटेजेस? डियर स्टूडेंट्स, मेन एडवांटेजेस ऑफ सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स इज it assists borrowers in overcoming the lack of collateral issues. I have told you before, from bank or formal sector, if we have goes to get the loan, the main problem arises is the collateral, what we have to show, what we have to mortgage. But at the time of SSG, the borrowers are overcoming no needs of the collateral. And second, the self-help group are the foundation of the rural people's organization. And the people, rural people, it is a foundation. If they need a certain amount, they can easily, with their documentation, with a short limit of time, they can get the loan or get the amount. And another benefit is people can receive loans on schedule at a fair interest rate for a number of objectives. And at that time, you have to know objective. You have so different objective. But if you go to bank will ask you for which you have to got loan, for construction of house, for construction of vehicle, or other purpose, or education purpose. But in self-help groups, people can receive loans on a schedule and at a fair interest rate for a number of objectives. Okay, and is assist women in becoming financially self-sufficient. Dear students, women are the pillar of our society, and if they are not developed, how we imagine our country will develop, our nation will develop. So the self-help groups helps the women becomes financially self-sufficient. And another benefit is that the groups frequent meetings give a forum for discussing and taking actions on variety of social concern such as health, nutrition, domestic violence, and so on. And it is a forum. The self-help group is a forum, and they conducted meeting on a term of time, on the interval of time, and also they discuss the varieties of issues of the society what they are faced, what problems, health, nutrition, domestic violence, and the outcome that issues. Dear students, this is the about your third chapter, money and credit. It is a very small chapter, and on this chapter you once again recall that money and credit, money as a medium of exchange, first that is barter system, and after that it is covered by metallic coins, gold or silver coins, and after that money has comes of the minimum exchange, mode of exchange, and then the modern form of money. What are the modern form of money? Now cash deposits, checks, and this is the modern form of money. And after that the bank loans, credit, points of credit, and terms of credit. And after that types of credit in India, we have got the credits from two sectors. One is formal sector and another is informal sector. Formal sector is organized sector, and where the rate of interest is very low, and informal sector is a non-organized sector where the rate of interest is very high. Then there is cooperatives. Cooperatives are basically works for farmers for their development. Then we have learned about the self-help groups and the advantages of the self-help groups for our society. Dear students, this is about your third chapter, money and credit. I think I have cleared all about this chapter, and it will be very helpful on your upcoming examination. Once again, myself, Dr. Ganesh Prasad Behera, founder chairman, Utkal International School, Chaudhar, Cuttack. Jai Jagannath.